In this video, I'll do a quick analysis and breakdown of two trades I took yesterday in the pound yen pair. Pound yen is one of my specialties as far as currency pairs are concerned. I'll give you a top-down analysis of how I came to execute this trade. I usually take a top-down analysis so I can get a bigger picture of where the markets are headed. Then I can time them in the lower time frames. Usually if there are shifts in the market, these shifts can be detected earlier when you take a look at the lower time frames. I was able to get two trading opportunities to a quick scalps. So let's just get into it. So let's take a quick recap of these pound yen trades that we had in the market yesterday. So taking a look at the monthly, what we see is price broke impulsively this resistance area here to the upside, but we see that this candle here tried to cover a bit of ground to the downside, but it's still forming. But clearly you can see it is bullish. Let's go down to the weekly. What we see in the weekly is that price broke as well impulsively to the upside with this momentum candle, measuring from the low of this move to the high of the move. We see that price with this bearish candle that is still running, price has recovered some ground, but when it reached between the 61.8 and the 50% retracement areas of the Fibonacci, price was bounced off. Price was rejected within this area, keeping it bullish. So we can see that alongside the monthly, the weekly is heavily bullish, having broken and closed above this weekly resistance area. So once again, we see the monthly is bullish and the weekly is bullish as well. So dropping to the daily, what we see is that price as well broke. This was the last resistance area in its way to the upside on the daily. So price broke and closed above this resistance area here with this candle here. So with this impulsive move, price was able to jump to the peak of the move as it stands at the moment. So now taking our Fib tool once again, from the low to the high of this swing, what we see is that just like the weekly, price retraced to this 50% and 61.8% Fibonacci retracement area. And what we see is that when price got to this area, it was rejected to the upside on the daily and closed above. For once, please first forget about this candle that is just forming, this daily candle that is just forming. We are analyzing trades that I took yesterday just to give you my feel of the market, my mind when I'm coming to the markets, and the way I get to analyze these markets before I execute my trades. We see the monthly is bullish, the weekly is bullish, the daily is bullish. So let's drop down to the 4 hour. What we are doing is a simple top-down analysis. Now, I'll use this replay tool to chop off these candles here so I can keep it to the data that was before I took that trade. So in this 4 hour, what I saw was price had broken and closed above this resistance area here with this move to the upside. It moved so impulsively, and on reaching the peak, it tried to regain some of the ground that it had lost with this move to the downside. Now, on reaching this support area here, we see that it was bounced off. And by a bounce, I mean, look at this candle here, as well as this bullish candle. You see, price dropped to the downside, came and pricked through this support area here, but was heavily rejected, and it closed above. Much as it still closed bearish, it still closed above this support area here. Now, this next candle here, it pricked through again, trying to break this support area here, but was rejected, and it ended up closing bullish, bouncing off the support area here. And as you can see, the wick to the downside, talking about this wick to the downside, compared to its wick to the upside, the lower wick is stronger than the upper wick, indicating to us that bulls are coming in strongly. As it stands now, once again, the monthly is bullish, the weekly is bullish, the daily is bullish, and what we see now in this 4-hour time frame is that it is also bullish. So let's drop down to the hourly chart. When I came to the hourly chart, forget about all this data that you're seeing. This came later. We are recapping a trade that had happened earlier. What I saw was price had broken and closed above this resistance area here. This was a 4-hour resistance area that price broke and closed above with this candle here. Now price tried to retrace and retest it. Now we know when we keep seeing these bounces as price returns to this area, clearly indicates to us that this move to the downside is not necessarily a reversal as of yet, but rather a retracement. I hope you get the difference between reversals and retracements. So what I saw was price came into this support area here and was heavily rejected. You can see this very long wick. The momentum to the downside was so strong, but look at this rejection to the upside. It was so heavily rejected, strongly rejected, to a point that it actually closed on the next candle bullish. We see the next one tried to come in as well, dropped below, but was heavily rejected as well. And much as it closed close to its open, it still closed bullish, indicating to us that a bullish momentum was coming into the market. Now that was not all. Why? Because much as it had closed bullish, it still had this very tiny candle in between here that had created an area of resistance. When price dropping down to it, it became support, but blasted through, came and tested this support area here on the downside, and now with price trying to go back up, it's now turned into resistance again. So now with this candle here, price was able to break and close above it. Now what does that indicate to us? It indicates to us that this move to the downside is not a reversal but a retracement like we saw, and this seems to be the end of that retracement. I hope that doesn't make it sound complicated, trying as much as I can to keep it simple for your understanding. So what we see is that the monthly is bullish, the weekly is bullish, the daily is bullish, the 4-hour is bullish, and now the 1-hour is bullish. So we drop down to the 30 minutes. That's where I executed my trade. So the only issue that we had in sight was this resistance area above here. Remember, this is where price was here before I took the trade, as I was still doing the analysis yesterday. So now that's what I'm going to delve into. So what we had was only this range to trade with before getting to this resistance area here, and we can see it was quite some huge range of 67 pips. That was big enough, especially for a quick scalp, and that's enough range. Taking a look at this, you see this area here, this bullish candle and the bearish candle that followed thereafter. These two created an area of resistance. Price with this candle comes and breaks above this resistance area here and closes above it. Also look at the sizes of these candles. This was small, this became bigger than the previous one, this became much bigger than the previous one as well, then this that broke and closed above was even much bigger than the previous one. So we see that the volumes were actually increasing in the market as price was tending to the upside, further confirming to us the fact that the other move was this drop wasn't a reversal but just a mere retracement. But anyway, we're only looking for a quick scalp. So price with this candle breaks and closes above this resistance area to the upside. So what are we left with to do? Like snipers, these are some of the setups that you're just sitting on the side to watch for, like a sniper, like a boxer who does not waste his punches. So price with this candle closed to the upside, just so you can understand what I'm talking about. So this is where price was as it closed above this resistance area. So this was the trade we were looking at taking. So we set our entry, a buy stop, right at the tip of this kind of course, including some little bit of spread, so you're not triggered into the trade before a price breaks its high. Our stop was at the low of this candle, and our target was this resistance area inside, which brought us just a little bit above 2-to-1 risk reward. And with just the next candle, we were able to hit TP. Now, for any other trades that we would take, we would need price to close above this resistance area here. Why? Because it was a very strong resistance area, because it had created itself a very strong area of support, rejecting price severally and so strongly. I mean, take a look at all these weeks here. Price dropping so deep to these levels here, and it kept on being rejected. Very, very strong. That for price to be able to break through this area here, it had to take this heavy momentum candle to break through it. Now imagine how much strength it needs for it to break back above it. So we wouldn't be taking any chances, yet we wouldn't be taking any sales as yet. Why? Because the pair is heavily bullish, like we've seen through the top-down analysis. But now the fact that it's encountering this area of resistance, we need price to close above it before we can execute buys just a little bit. So with this candle, price was able to break and close above this area here. Now the analysis still remains the same. We're not going to go back into it, but now we're just waiting for our entry reason, and I'm not going to go into that. But now, if you're observant enough, the same thing that happened right here is the same thing that has happened in this same area above with the same kind of move. The only difference is it took so many candles here, it took just one when it came to this. But the move is basically the same. We had to drop down further to see if there were better opportunities on the lower time frame, so we could limit our stop loss. And so we dropped to the 15 minutes. This was the setup that we saw. There looks to be a lot of room to the left for price to cover without any areas of resistance that would act as an impediment for price to move to the upside. I mean, the only one that was in its way was this, but price was able to break and close above, and you can see with some bit of momentum candle, not that big, but bigger at least compared to the last two previous bullish candles before it. Now, but when it came to this, I had to take a quick 1-to-1, and the reason was informed by what stood in the way as a resistance, and that was, I think, on the 1 hour time frame, which is this resistance area here. So on the 1 hour, this was the resistance area that I was looking at price coming to for a quick 1-to-1, so dropping down to the 15. And the reason I looked at it was, the higher time frame levels are stronger than those in the lower time frames. Let's see how it played out. Just close, then price drops a little against, okay, and right there I was able to hit TP for a quick 1-to-1. So basically that was the trade. Those are the two trades that I took yesterday. They were quick scalps. I hope you got some knowledge, you got some value for your time. Don't forget to subscribe and to like, so you don't miss any other educational content that I'll be posting on the channel.